Hello and welcome to Medical Myths Busted. My name is Dr. Moses Kazevu. This is a series on my YouTube channel where we'll look at two important medical myths where we aim to either approve of them or debunk them. Today we're going to be looking at two important medical myths. One myth is that people actually believe that lumbar punctures can kill them. Wait, people actually believe that? Oh, okay. The second myth is that we're not supposed to actually skip breakfast because it's the most important meal of the day. I know a lot of people are going to be feeling so sensitive about this right now. So, beginning with the first myth, do lumbar punctures actually kill us? So let me give you a background about what a lumbar puncture is. So you may
Tell us,
sometimes
Doc.
fall ill, or you may have known someone who has fallen ill and may have required a lumbar puncture. So there is an infection that is affecting these membranes that cover your brain, which is referred to as meningitis. So this is where you have these membranes that are covering your brain and your spinal cord being inflamed. And sometimes we may need to poke a needle in your spine and get some fluid, which is known as cerebral spinal fluid, that we could actually test in the lab to see exactly what is causing the infection and for us to have an idea of how to treat it. Now, where does this myth actually come from about the lumbar puncture actually killing people? There hasn't been really that much evidence, even online, about how the myth came about. But if you were to actually go out in the um, community right now and actually ask different individuals whether they would want to get a lumbar puncture if they fell ill and required one, most of them would say no. And the reason why they would say no is that they think that a lumbar puncture would actually result in them dying. But what they do not actually realize is that lumbar punctures actually are meant for us to make a diagnosis of exactly what is causing your meningitis so that we could have an idea of how to treat it. So in most cases, you find out that people that have lumbar punctures and actually shun away from doing a lumbar puncture, then their case or their medical condition deteriorates, then it leads to them becoming worse. And then when they actually decide to do the lumbar puncture, it's too late and they end up dying. And then who are they gonna blame for their death?
This is awkward.
Obviously, the lumbar puncture. So you see where I'm going with this. So that's how this myth came about, and it was propagated for many years, and up until date, there are still some people, even probably some people watching this video, that believe that lumbar punctures could actually cause you to die. But do lumbar punctures actually cause you to die? Let's get a drum roll, please. And the answer is no. Lumbar punctures actually do not cause you to die. They're actually used as a medical tool to make a diagnosis of meningitis. So please, if you do need a lumbar puncture and your doctor requests for a lumbar puncture, consent to that, because that's how you're going to help the patient that's sick with meningitis, and that's how the doctor will know exactly what drugs that the doctor must use in order to treat this patient. Now, with the second myth, is breakfast really important or the most important meal of the day? Wait, you guys are having breakfast?
Yes, bosses.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it was just me who used to skip breakfast. So it's general consensus, and if you go on most of these web pages and most of these nutritional companies, well, who advocate for different brands of cereal, who advocate for different meals for breakfast, the common thing that they'll have is that skipping breakfast is actually an unhealthy thing. So is breakfast really the most important meal of the day? Now, the science background between their rationale of not skipping breakfast is that breakfast actually helps us replenish the blood glucose levels, or the sugar that is present in your blood, because when you go to sleep and you're not eating, the sugar that is present in your blood actually falls to very low levels. So when you wake up, you're actually supposed to have a very heavy meal in the terms of breakfast in order to raise this blood glucose level, and it also for some reason helps in reducing you from gaining weight, because as you eat your breakfast, then you are less inclined to eat more at lunch. And it's also associated with certain other benefits of having increased in the GI movements, as well as preventing things like constipation and obesity as well as other health issues. Though, even though these websites actually do state all these amazing scientific facts, which do make sense, there actually isn't that much evidence that has been linked with breakfast actually being associated with bad health outcomes. Many people have done research, and if you compare the various amounts of people that actually skip breakfast, we would probably be an unhealthy nation. I would probably be an unhealthy person, but please do not skip breakfast. That's just for me. But then now you ask me, why is it important that we shouldn't skip breakfast? The argument that most of these people that are pro-breakfast people, the ones that usually advocate for breakfast, the people that think they're better than us who skip breakfast,
Violent.
so the people that have all three meals, I'm only joking. The people that have all three meals, um, they believe that if someone skips breakfast, then they are more likely to have a heavier lunch. And if they have a heavier lunch, it means that they'll increase their food intake for the rest of their day. So it means that it predisposes them to gaining more weight, which in essence actually does make some logical sense. But in essence, when you're looking at it, even if someone skips breakfast, in some individuals, their bodies have actually adapted to this newfound state that when they, even if they skip breakfast, their body can still maintain the blood glucose levels even when they eat. It doesn't necessarily result in them having fat. And even there is no scientific evidence, there has been no significant researchers that have shown that there is a significant health increase or there is a significant health hazard that has been associated with skipping breakfast. So there's usually a group of people that are really advocating for something but without evidence, but then there's also hasn't been some research that has been done towards us proving that actually skipping breakfast would be detrimental to the health of an individual. So then what's our verdict for whether we should skip breakfast or skipping breakfast is bad for our health? Well, can we get a drum roll, please? So the answer for this is a maybe. The reason why I'm giving it a maybe and not a yes or a no is because breakfast is indeed a very important meal in a day, and it also helps raise your blood glucose level. You do not want your blood glucose levels to be falling to levels that are very low, because that could create other problems for you. So please do not skip your breakfast. Ensure that you have your breakfast on time and be consistent with it. The other reason why I am also giving it a maybe is because even for the people that do skip breakfast, there haven't been any significant detrimental effects on their health. So necessarily, if they can skip breakfast, then it must be okay, right? Right? Yes, it should be okay. So I would say that it largely falls between the individual that is taking the breakfast and the individual that decides to skip the breakfast. So you should actually know your body, but please make sure that you stay safe and make sure that you have all your meals and you're eating right and it's a balanced diet. Please do not overeat. Obesity is a problem, as well as do not starve yourself. Undernutrition is also a much even bigger problem than obesity in our setup. So thank you for taking your time to listen to this episode on Medical Myths Busted. My name is Dr. Moses Kazevu. If you still haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please
What are you waiting for,
subscribe.
you Windan?
Hit the bell icon to be getting notifications every time I post such videos. Until next time,